Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here on Prime Morning. My name is Zach Osbar. It's time for News Flash segment, discussion segment, and we're about to get into some of the issues that, of course, very topical. But before we do that, we're going to go through the newspapers very briefly. Let me just also acknowledge and mention that fellow Ghanaians, Bakoko Asante, will come your way, hopefully in the course of the discussion or maybe after it. Okay, so it will definitely come your way. He's got a very important message to share with all of us. So that will come our way very soon. Now, we want to hear from you in the course of the discussion. Please do stay interactive. Send us your message. If you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you leave a message there. And leave a message also on WhatsApp for us. Let's hear from you. Let's hear your thoughts. We'll make time to read all of them in the course of the show. So make sure you send it. Now, in store with me is Mr. Theophilus Dzimega. He's a lawyer and a member of the NDC communication team. Then Dr. Palgrave Dankwa. He's a lecturer at UPSA and is a former government spokesperson on governance and security, and also communication member of the MPP. And of course, today he is donning it very visibly. Is staunch member of the Ken campaign team. About 3 months ago to 31st of January, and they are very busy. Doc, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Symbol of hope. Wow. I stand with Ken, patriotism, honesty, discipline.
It's good to be here.
Got so much on you this morning.
93 more days to the 31st of January election. And Kennedy Japan is going to be the next flag bearer of the new patriotic party. I stand with Ken. I believe in his ideologies. I believe in his vision. I believe in his transformation. I believe in his job creation ability. I believe in his entrepreneurship. I believe that where we are as a people and as a country, we need to be able to revolutionize the number of young people that are coming out of our schools on a year-on-year basis, who always rely on government to be able to give them jobs. Ken is going to create an enabling environment for the private sector to strive. And that's why I believe in him.
Interesting. Council, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning. Good morning to your viewers wherever they are, and good morning to my folks from...
How's your week been so far?
Very good. And good morning to my folks in Huawei. Unfortunately, this weekend we are burying our constituency youth organizer who passed on. Yes, in Churupe. My condolences to the bereaved family. I love Doctor's enthusiasm. He's talking like the way people talk just before Kwame Nkrumah declared independence.
Interesting.
And I love that. Yes, I have friends around him. We've met on a number of platforms. So I wish them all the best.
Yeah.
Yes, may the best candidate come and meet the NDC's candidate.
We'll see. We'll see who will become NDC's candidates too. When the time is up, of course, we'll get into it. Let me just bring you up to speed on what's happening in the various newspapers. The Chronicle newspaper has got Lands Ministry, Logist Group to use science-driven methods to reclaim degraded lands, and Lightwave refutes Akando's shutdown claim. I'll bring you excerpts of that from Lightwave. But also you have Waste Management, COYS in financial distress, appeal to government for urgent rescue is also on the Chronicle newspaper. I'll get a bit more, especially into the Lightwave issue. And then you've got the overseer, CDR 60, with the finance minister saying handles CDs with pride. And PAC commends MIIF CEO for honesty, competence, and institutional reforms. And government introduced games to replace Lightwave system. Then it's also a report on the building collapse that happened at Rage. And apparently they say no building collapse at Roman Rage. Interesting. They are clarifying exactly what happened there. Then top NDC executive in Adentan implicated in job recruitment fraud and extortion. Interesting. That story, they say, is coming up. They say it's coming up. It's not in the newspaper. They say it is coming up. Okay, we're waiting for it. It says the Inside newspaper also has Ghost endorses Baumia. Interesting. Then waste contractors warn of looming sanitation crisis, demand payment of arrears from government. Then Lightwave sets record straight on false claims about health data systems. Again, we'll bring you that story. We'll be speaking to the Ministry of Health on this very matter. Then Ghanaian children must not only consume technology, but create it. That's according to Haruna Idrisu. Then Salt Priest clan leaders accuse traditional council of betrayal, demand government intervention. Is also here. Then the Finder newspaper. The Finder newspaper has got GRA to roll out 3% tax on small businesses from November 5. Okay, we'll see what that entails. Then Agribusiness Chamber demands end to grain exports ban. And Volkswagen celebrate 5 years with T-Cross SUV made for Ghanaian environment. Then the big one here, fuel prices set to drop from November 1. You understand? It's set to drop as much as 10%. Wow, this is going to be a massive drop. Then refuse collectors threaten shutdown, demand payments by November 7. My goodness, they want to be paid by November 7, else the city and the county will be filled with filth. Interesting. And new payment regime to clear road sector debt within 90 days, Minister assures, and government aims at stable currency. That's according to the president. Well, let me just do the daily guide now, which I'm sure is going to be on the screen very shortly. It has also got some interesting, and he said ex-Buffer Stock CEO, wife charged over 78 million theft, and speaker goes mad over MPs' absenteeisms, and Supreme Court dismisses Edubuahin claims against judge, and Lightwave clears air over digital health system shutdown, and RNA Kill Holdings launches 300 million Ghana cedis scale-up fund. Is also captured there on the front page of the Daily Guide. So those are the stories there, and I think the one story that I find quite interesting have to do with the refuse collectors who are threatening to shut down, and the Environmental Service Providers Association. And you find that is the first story on the front page of the Daily Graphic, and that is huge, you know, really huge. And they say the Environmental Service Providers Association, made up of refuse collectors and other sanitation service providers, appeal to the government to settle outstanding payment owed to waste management contractors by Friday, November 7th this year to save them from total shutdown. Interesting. I'm trying to get a sense of how much they owe in the story. It's not captured, but it appears they are in some very huge debts, and they say if they are not settled, they will not continue to come and clear the filth or the refuse in our communities. Interesting. Now, another story that was not captured in the newspapers but has also been trending has to do with an incident that happened at Birmingham. There's a pharmacy at Birmingham, and one man who is reported to be a military officer went to the pharmacy demanding that his money, he be refunded an amount of 65 Ghana cedis. He says he sent his son to buy a specific drug. Unfortunately, he did not get the specific drug he wanted, so he went back and asked for a refund of his money, and they told him that there's no refunds. Refunds do not take place. That's a terror. Well, in the process of, you know, what do you call it, engagement, etc., he got a bit agitated and ended up hitting people in the pharmacy. Very unfortunate scene. There was a lady who had come to the pharmacy to buy. She became a victim of quite a number of slaps, and is generated some, you know, conversation on social media. And the police have been tagged in this video that this individual has to be arrested. You don't go attacking people in that manner. You don't go attacking. If you see the manner in which the shop attendant was beaten, punches in the stomach, very, very, very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate, all right? Now, the pharmacy, of course, they have a CCTV camera. The guy didn't know they have a CCTV camera. They took the video. They sent it to our sister, our partner, colleagues at GH1 EIB network. And they also published it. And we are going to publish it. Whoever this man is, if he's indeed a military man, as some people are alleging, because there are those who say they've gotten his name and his rank, the police have to pick it up. It's a country of law. So guys, if the video is ready, let's show the man who misconducted himself. Yeah, so that is what happened there. It's unconfirmed, but we understand the pharmacy is at Bamakam. But the point is that his face is clear. Assaulted people unprovoked. You came there wanting a refund of your money because you can see in the visuals, he says he wants his money to be refunded because he didn't get what he wanted. And apparently the guy said, well, we don't refund things. Then you continue engaging. It's a civil society. But what happens? Somebody standing somewhere, didn't touch you, you shove. Why do you touch her? She didn't do anything to you. You shove her, then escalated, and the beatings were completely unnecessary, completely unwarranted. And I think the police need to step in there. And just some brief thoughts on this before we get into if Doc, you want to have some brief thoughts on this?
Of course, I would have a brief thought. You know, I'm a female advocate, and this is so scary, so troubling that is happening at one of the places you feel you should be safe. and which is the Bema camp. I'm a barracks boy. I grew up in the barracks. I lived at Juba Villas number 48 with my guardian, may he so rest in peace, Colonel Jimadanso. You know, and so I know military lifestyle. Military lifestyle, slaps is like a greeting. That's me. I've received a lot of slaps. Slaps. I have a friend. He's called Ede Makoto. He works at Stanbic Bank. We went to University Primary together. He knows the slaps I've received in this world. Military slaps is normal. It's like greeting. But this is unfortunate. Extremely unfortunate. I don't know what can be done. This man must be dealt with. I feel very sorry for the young lady who was in harm's way. I mean, you could clearly see from the visual, just by the evidence of it, that the man just went haywire. And
Apparently
the woman
she came to buy something.
Of course, you could see. And the woman needed to also show evidence, which is why she picked her video. I mean, a Gen Z will usually record, so that's not a problem. But the manner in which the man beat everybody, is beating the woman, beating the attendant, is troubling. I want to see a report from the PR of the Ghana Armed Forces, because this has happened within the premises. I don't know what rank this person would be, but I'll be surprised if he's an officer. You know, and no disrespect to other ranks, but I don't know what ranks he would be. Did you get a rank?
No, they didn't get a rank.
Okay.
Didn't get a rank. But we understand one of our colleagues who is following it said they've gotten the name and the rank.
Okay.
So I'm sure we are waiting for some statements.
Okay.
We're waiting. I'm sure the pharmacy most likely has reported the matter to the police, and we are waiting for a statement from
but
the
this
police.
is extremely sad.
Yes.
Okay, but you know, Ms. Bar, I've been talking about incidents. I mean, every time I've always been talking to you about the incidents. Okay, I have called that. It's been 3 months. I don't even want to put my hand for 3 because, you know, usually now if you do anything, they send it politically because we are number 1 on the ballot. So I have to be careful, you know. But it's been 3 months. We still don't have a substantive minister for defense. That's been so troubling for me. We don't have a substantive minister for defense. The minister for finance is going to be preparing and presenting the president's budget for 2026. He's busy. We still don't have a minister for defense. So I've been talking about the chaos in this country. It's troubling. I mean, I can't overstretch this and bring it to the seat of government, but it's clearly troubling, you know, as you look at it. But we condemn this act. It will be good for the PR unit of the Ghana Armed Forces to bring out some communique. It will be good for IGP
Because like you mentioned,
Yohonu.
it happened in their premises.
Yes,
It happened in Bema camp.
it will be good
We
for
need to know.
IGP Yohonu to also send his men there. But
You see, the
we
point is
can't
that-
live in a society like this.
You see, we show some of these things because
It's trouble.
any ordinary Ghanaian can be a victim of these things. And we need to let people know this is wrong. You don't behave like this.
This is extremely wrong.
Because my face, I have a very soft face. I'm a man, but my face, if you
The
give me
woman has
slap
been
on my hand,
abused.
it will drop.
The woman has been abused. Dopsu must come in. The woman has been abused.
You know,
Clearly abused.
we need to.
Oh, I'm sad this morning.
It's really
Oh,
heartbreaking.
this is very
I
troubling.
mean, lawyer, you are a lawyer. I mean, you're a lawyer. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I'm just hoping that the police will act and at least we'll get some. The law have to work. We can entertain. If it happens that he is a private individual, the law has to work. If it happens he is indeed with a service, the law has to work. You just have to work. You can't behave like this.
This is disturbing. However, if the guy is a military person, I presume that the military police will act. Yes, they will be quick to act if he's a military person. However, if he's not a military person, the normal police will be coming in to act. And even then, there are procedures to go through his commander, blah, 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 before he's...
For the police to act.
Yes, they don't just... If he's a military person and even the police want him, they have to go through some process. Yes.
Wow,
they
that's
don't
an
just go and
interesting
pick him. No. They will have to get to his commander, for the commander to release him, for them to have... And most often, even the military police will pick the person and keep the person to hand over. Yeah. I've handled a number of soldiers who were involved in some other issues that were even in court, the Western Togoland issues, etc. So that's how they do it. I am a bit worried, and which I believe everybody should take their safety serious. I'm not holding brief for the attack. But clearly, you would have seen that the lady too has aggravated her, let me use the word, she has put herself more in harm's way by picking her phone to record. And with the first push, I would have expected her to withdraw. Now, if you look at the video carefully, you see that even after they've gone outside, she's trying to still like jump and attack. Look at their sizes. You see, much as it's good to defend, sometimes it's better to withdraw tactically. So I will urge you see, we have come to a situation where the least thing, everybody picks their phone. Even when people are involved in accident, instead of helping, we pick our phones. She wanted evidence. Well and good. But you see that the thing is aggravating, and to the extent that she could be in serious harm's way. So in future, I would advise that things like that. Look, a policewoman slapped me before.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Policewoman slapped you?
Because I was recording.
When was this?
About 5 years ago. I have the name.
What happened? What did you do?
No, because she was challenging some guys at the banking premise. And she saw me. She even came, picked my phone. Yes, but...
At the banking premises?
Yes, at the banking...
She was challenging some guys?
Yes.
You were recording it?
I was recording it.
And she confronted you?
Yes, she turned into me. So I learned...
And slapped you?
Yes, she slapped me. She even literally tore my dress.
5 years ago?
Yes. I know the name very well. I can mention the name. And I knew the other policemen who were involved.
Wow.
Yes. So you sometimes don't have to put yourself in harm's way in such a scenario. I have learned my lesson. And that is why I'm saying that I think that she should... The first clip or something she has done is okay. But not to try and come more. That would have put herself more in a harm's way. Whatever it is, I'm wondering whether the guy is a real human being. Because he seemed to be attacking almost everybody in his way. Almost everybody in his way.
You saw some people came in to try and
even the people who were trying to restrain him if you notice, the other lady who came in tried to calm him down. She was lucky not to have received any of the beatings or the blows.
I mean, if you see the way, if you listen, if you get to listen, it looks like she knew him. She was even mentioning
the name. Yes,
you know,
maybe that is why
yeah,
it came. But I mean, whatever amount is involved, is so huge to warrant the type of beating.
Put yourself under this embarrassment.
Yes.
You know?
My brother here says he's not sure whether he's an officer. And he said it that he's not having any disrespect for other ranks. But he will be the first to also agree that even the other ranks are well disciplined.
Oh, of course.
Yes, yes. So the guy actually behaved with such a brute attitude that there is no way anybody can justify it. Even he himself, upon watching it today, would have been asking himself.
So he regrets.
Yes.
He regrets.
So I'm wondering, did he take in something? Is he on any psychotic drugs? It's so difficult. But clearly, what this has shown is that anywhere you are today, be mindful that somebody will see you. And I will encourage a lot more people to have CCTVs.
Yeah.
So that such things will be eradicated. When you go to certain places, they put even the notice that there are CCTV cameras operating here. When you misbehave, the films will be handed over to the police for prosecution. So when you are going in, it should be at the back of your mind that when I misbehave, I'll be fished out. I urge the military hierarchy, not necessarily statement. If he is one of them, it should be picked. If he's not, please, Madam CID Director, we need quick action. Like in my farmer.
Yeah. Interesting. Thank you very much. That was just, we'll look forward to it. We'll look forward to it and see what the reaction would be. All right. Well, let's get into our substantive issues now, starting on the National Service Authority scandal. The latest forensic audit by the Auditor General has revealed some very interesting things. I mean, we are even hearing that leadership of the National Service Personnel Association received monies they were not supposed to take. And we understand it's in excess of about millions of Ghana cedis were sent to their Israel account, and apparently they were not supposed to receive that. You also hear details about some monies that the former National Service Executive Director also apparently received into his account, which he was not supposed to receive. So it has raised a bigger question of accountability in public service. Now, even if we want to take it beyond what is happening at the National Service Authority and take it even to the Public Accounts Committee, yesterday, another major revelation was made, and ECG spent monies that they were not supposed to spend. Apparently, they spend money beyond their budgetary allocation. And in fact, before you do that, you need to get board approval. They did not get any board approval, and they went ahead to spend those monies. And I was looking at the breakdown of some of the monies they spent, what they budgeted for staff fuel. They spent more than that, almost in excess of 500,000 Ghana cedis. What they budgeted for publicity, they spent in excess of 5 million Ghana cedis. There seems to be some, I don't know why people find it comfortable and convenient to engage in some of these acts that are clearly wrong. What is happening in the public sector? What is it that is making it difficult for people to act right? Is it that we are not being upholding accountability as we ought to? Because, I mean, if you want to take it back, and Maslow, the former CEO of Maslow, is still out of the country. She has been accused of embezzling some funds, and nothing has been done to her because she's still out of the country. And we've seen this many times in the past. So what is the problem? What is it with public service that we continue to hear these things and very little is done, and even when something is done, it does not serve as enough deterrence to other people? Doc.
We are in a very troubling state. We are really in a very troubling state, and it doesn't seem there's an end in sight, really, of all the issues that are happening. This semester, I'm teaching corporate governance.
Wow.
And I've told my students to always pay attention to the Parliament Select Committee, from local government to Public Account Committee, and all the committees that are meeting the various appointees of government. One of the things that you can clearly see with the integrity of the parliamentarians and the questioning is a clear indication that we have poor corporate governance. And that's the main problem. That's the only problem. All these issues are corporate governance issues. That one is withdrawing money without board approval. Corporate governance says that you have stakeholders, you have shareholders. And then in a corporate organization, even if it's the Jubilee House, your board at the Jubilee House is the Council of Elders or the Council of State. Even if it's Parliament, your board at Parliament is the leadership of Parliament, which includes the Speaker, the majority leader, the minority leader, the Chief Whip, and all of that. Those are the leadership of Parliament or the Parliamentary Board. And so all these issues that are happening, it's a clear, fundamental breakdown of our corporate governance principles as a country. And this is a jailable offense. Yes, if you go against standards of corporate governance, it's a jailable offense.
Yeah. Or
it's a dismissal offense. Because you cannot abrogate to yourself rights that is given to the board. Then what's the essence of a board? A board is set in place to be able to administer, obviously, the KPIs of the organization.
Yeah.
The board is not there to help with the day-to-day running of the organization, which is why there's a CEO and then there's a management. And so if the CEO is making the responsibility and taking the role of the board, then that's an issue.
Yeah.
And that's a breakdown of corporate governance. And so we must rethink as a people how we implement our corporate governance principles, because every single conversation that is going on is a clear indication that there's been poor corporate governance principles that has been happening in this country. And people clearly do not value the modalities that has been put in place.
It's just that because I think I really appreciate your point, but then you look at, if you want to compare, the state probably should have the best corporate governance structure. And it appears on paper we do have it. So I'm just wondering, what makes it difficult? What makes it easy for people to not adhere Because yes, you have an audit. Every government agency has an auditor, don't they? Every year we do auditing. We do that. Every CEO knows that they need to resort to the board before decisions are taken. So I'm just trying to appreciate what will make a CEO or a director so comfortable to buy, to go behind the board to take certain decisions. What will make an executive director of an authority, for instance, like the Auditor General just revealed, former NSA Director Esibe Enti, who received in excess of 500,000 Ghana cedis every month, equivalent to allowances from approximately 721 personnel, totaling 8.26 million between 2023 and 2024 as a volunteer in the NSA system. What will make people feel comfortable to do things like this?
There was a big food scandal in Europe. And how they were able to find out that there was that scandal was because an auditor had been rotated and then a new auditor came. Okay? So when we speak about corporate governance, we speak about it in the lens of the fact that the value chain of the people, there are times that somebody is sitting on some information and making sure that there are poor corporate governance principles happening. And so everyone must be accountable. Of course, I get very worried and very scared, really, with how we are growing our country.
Yeah.
And everybody must take a closer look at what is happening now, because we have an opportunity to change that. We have an opportunity to ensure that what is in the books is what is implemented on the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because I don't see the reason why, take a state agency. Why is the CEO maybe having the sole signatory to an account? That's a poor corporate governance. Those are poor corporate governance principles. Because if there's a threshold of an amount of money that the CEO has an opportunity to approve, and there's a threshold that the board must approve. So if we have good corporate governance principles that says that any amount above 100,000 Ghana cedis come to the board for approval, and you have a CEO who is taking decisions of withdrawing or making procurements in millions of Ghana cedis without board approvals, so the board does not sit, the board does not attend board meetings, there are no stakeholder engagements, there are no shareholder engagements. And so I conclude, really, with all of this, that we are not handling our good corporate governance principles well. And it appears that a lot more of poor corporate governance principles and tenets is what we are priding ourselves in and praising on a regular basis. Because it's troubling, it's so much headache, and it appears as though we are always retrogressive. Because all the issues that are coming, you can't find the head and tail of it.
And Doc, I'll come to you, because these are the kind of things, and I'll come back to you, Doc, but let me come to Council. But Doc, I want you to touch on this, that these are some of the, because the moment the public, the youths, continue to hear things like this, it begins to stir certain things in them. And we are not so unaware of what is happening around us. Just recently, we saw what happened in Madagascar. We saw what happened in Madagascar. We have seen what has happened in neighboring countries. And reports like this only puts the republic and our democracy in danger. And as political figures, we need to be, we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful about some of these things. I'm going to come to you because, of course, you have a lot of insight into the implication of this, even on our democracy and security and all of that. Council, let me get your first thoughts on some of these things. I mean,
it's a bit worrying. Let me pick a leaf from Doc's views. Let's take the ECG, as you said. You know, the ECG board then was chaired by Apenyo Markins. So you sat there with what he's pontificating now, and all the bleeding happened under him. It's a bit unfortunate. You see, this is all about not just institutional failure. There are failure of internal controls, compliance, negligence. These things don't just happen out of the blue. Somebody opened the door, somebody held the door, and somebody pushed the person in, and somebody asked the person to take the thing away. That is the scenario. there is also no sort of punishment for the non-political members of those organizations. So if we had internal auditors, properly so-called and properly working, you wouldn't have allowed project overrun that way.
Yeah.
If we have accountants, chief financial officers, senior financial officers, excuse me, you wouldn't have allowed such a thing to happen. These things don't just happen by chance. And they are not just concealed. They are exposed things. They happen daily. So for me, I believe that there has to be some punishment for for those who take part in the failures of the internal workings of an organization.
Because often, all we hear is somebody has been surcharged.
Yes.
Somebody has been transferred.
They don't even,
as
that doesn't even happen. That is why it's heartwarming when the president met the Attorney General, the Chief Justice, and the Auditor General for something like this. And let's put this on record. The current happenings in the Public Accounts Committee are not things that happened within the last 8 months.
Yeah.
There are things that happened before the last 8 months. Indeed, these had happened post John Dramani Mahama 1. But what I'm driving at is that it keeps happening. So the people inside, for example, if we take your organization, you will not have a project overrun for 50% without anybody raising a finger.
Yes.
Somebody will say, no.
Yes.
Even if you overrun for 10%, somebody will say, hold on, let's go back for a new approval before it goes that way. So, but we don't seem to have those checks and balances within the public sector, and that is worrying. And we have all relapsed into a situation to normalize it, that we no longer cringe or get our conscience pricked by such a thing. No.
And I shared the document with my colleagues, and if you can give us the breakdown, especially that breakdown of the 189 million Ghana cedi ECG spent beyond budget without approval in 2023, and it's a staggering. Foreign training, they budgeted 31 million Ghana cedis. They ended up spending 91 million Ghana cedis without approval.
3 times more.
Cleaning expenses, they budgeted 2.8 million. They ended up spending 10.4 million Ghana cedis without approval. They budgeted honorarium expenses of 3.8 million. They spent 4.6 million. Hotel expenses, they budgeted 9.3. They ended up spending 12.2 million. Staff fuel, they budgeted 2.8 million. They ended up spending 7.9 million without approval. Communication expense, 4.2 million, spent 7.9 million. Consultancy expenses, 40 million was budgeted, 58.6 million was spent without approval. Industrial relations, I'm not too sure what this means, but 2 million was what was budgeted, 30 million was what was spent. Stakeholder expenses, staggering, 3.1 million budgeted, 49 million Ghana cedis spent without approval. Professional fees, 731,000, 1.5 million was spent. Overseas travel expenses, 14 million budgeted, 29.8 million spent. Call center expenses, 23 million, 23.5 million budgeted, 29.3 million spent. And publicity expenses, 5.7 million was budgeted and 21.8 million was spent without approval. There's a reason why they need approval for these things, so that you can, explain why you need that money, isn't it?
Yes. So if we take 189 and take it at today's exchange rate, so we are talking about $70 million that has been budget overrun. You see, what is the punishment for the ones who have used the money without approval? If we allow this to go on, next year somebody else will do it. It is, and invariably this ends up being yourself and myself paying for it. Then we go to Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to say ECG is bleeding.
So let's increase the
tariff. So it is now that all of us need to get angry and say, who caused this? The person who caused this must be made to pay. If we begin to get people to pay for their actions or inaction, somebody will sit up. And again, I keep saying that, what are the internal controls? Now, does it mean that any amount that is not budgeted for goes through, somebody signs and says, go and use it? That can be. Look at the one from 3.1 to 49 million.
Stakeholder expenses.
That is so huge. Some people within the chain would have noticed it. Somebody would have noticed it. And what was the board doing for the whole entire period? They never had any engagement with the MD. They never had any engagement with the chief financial officer. What were they doing? This could not have happened, let's say, under Toyota, under Newmont, under Goldfields. This would not have happened. No.
So in a typical private
enterprise,
this cannot happen.
It can never, ever happen. Does it also mean that those who do the budgeting don't know the elements that go into the budgeting, that they will under budget for such a huge difference? So that also calls into question the competence of those who budget. So this can never, at the beginning or just before a year begins, you do all these budgets because you look at historical figures and you look at your plans for the new year and you marry and get this budget. But to do a budget that will overrun, granted that budgets can be overrun, but with such a staggering amount,
difference,
that is more than almost 50%, if not more. So if you budget for 144 and you are spending 300, it means more than double the amount that you budgeted.
Is either the person who did the budgets originally is incompetent?
That is one.
Or somebody intentionally did it
so that, yes. So what also happens is that when they are overspending, the control mechanisms, Doc said something. He said he's teaching
corporate governance.
Corporate governance. I don't know whether it includes corporate governance culture. Okay, if it includes corporate governance culture, then it is one thing we need to look at. Yes, thank you, Doc. It's one thing we need to look at. Now, the personnel we put in those places, are they well infused with corporate governance culture?
Yeah.
Now, today, in today's world, I don't think anybody can be so much illiterate in any aspect of life where you are working. We have the AIs, we have all the tools, the YouTubes you can use to teach yourself in case you are deficient or illiterate in an area where you are. So there is definitely no justification, none that I can see. The question I want to ask is it happening now? If it is happening now, as we are talking, it has to be checked so that we don't have to talk about history next year, so that we nip it in the bud today and we control it today. So on this note, I'll call on all the sector ministers and the directors, check your internal control mechanisms. Because if we are able to sweep all these little things, there's no need to go to IMF.
Doc, let me come back to you on this.
You know, Ms. Bao, this is a very serious issue. Because 2023, the government was under an IMF program. And so, ostensibly, you would expect that these will not happen. I am surprised.
That was within the period the DDP had.
Yeah, I am surprised. You know, governance is three things. It's accountability, it's trust, it's transparency. And if a board has approved 144 million Ghana cedis, and you go to spend 333 million Ghana cedis, that's a splash in the face of the board. And clearly you can see that the objectives of corporate governance has been failed here. Because what are they? I'll just quickly go through. It's accountability, it's transparency, it's responsiveness, it's rule of law, it's stability, it's equity and inclusiveness, empowerment and participation. Somebody has enjoyed at the detriment of the Ghanaian people. And some mechanisms are not being followed, structure is not being followed, process is not being followed. Lawyer is right. This will not happen under any serious corporate organization. It won't happen at Talo, it won't happen at MasterCard, it won't happen at Goldfields, it won't happen.
It won't happen at multimedia.
It will not happen at multimedia. And so if corporate governance tenants are being managed well at multimedia, then we expect that good corporate governance tenants is managed well in the public sector. So that we can be able to resolve these issues. This is so scandalous. It's so scary. And I'm glad he's putting a caution to the sitting government, because it's government after government. And you can see, you asked a very important question, because this has been going on for years. Because every time the Auditor General will come out and say that these are the infractions from this year and that year and that year. But why are we discussing it now? Because we are maturing as a people. And it's now closer to us. Many years ago, many people would not care, which is why people are troubled about the fact that the young people will rise up. But I pray that the Ghanaian people don't rise up. The reason is that it's scary to see the higher number of people that are unemployed, who are educated, who are qualified. There's not a single day that I do not talk to a degree holder, a master holder, or a PhD holder who is at home. Our parents who are on pension are still taking care of their children who have finished first degree, second degree, and PhD. And they are still encouraging them to stay in Ghana because their parents believe in the dream of Ghana, that Ghana will get better. And so if we see figures like this, that could have gone into employment. Because 144,333,000, that's a double of that. Because if it's even 2, it's 288. So they've gone above it.
Yeah.
Who was the CEO of ECG? We need to call him.
The MD.
Yeah, the MD.
At that time it was Dubik Manaw.
We need to bring him.
There was somebody before Dubik.
We need
I think 2023.
This 2023.
He was the one there.
We need to bring him. Okay, how do you make these approvals without the notice of the board? Unless, of course, the board is aware and we are not aware. Because if the board is aware, then they should tell us that the board is aware and that the board gave approval. Because what is here is that this is unapproved.
Yes.
And you see, this also tells us that good corporate governance is happening within the Auditor General, because he's bringing out these infractions. So we must commend him.
And ECG itself, this is not the first time we've heard things like this. The matters about the cables, the stuff, and the fact that they bought more than they need. Something clearly is happening at that company, and somebody needs to take a closer look at it.
Don't be surprised tomorrow anybody will approach you to say, I need job at ECG. Because the person will think that.
It happens every now and then. But Ms. Bao, we need to be careful as a people. We're building a country. Okay? We want a country that would last. Not a country that is just here and go. We really want a country that lasts. But if we continue to see this with state institutions, which must be the fulcrum of trust, that's really what you want. If state institutions are strong enough, and is trusted enough, then you can tell that you have a formidable country and a formidable future. Which is why, you see, when people visit our country, we should listen to what they say. Barack Obama came. Everybody has been left with all the words that Barack Obama left with us. Build strong institutions. Build strong institutions. Build strong institutions. Building strong institutions also means that, and a lawyer asked me whether corporate governance culture is being taught. Yes, of course, corporate governance is being taught. Culture is being taught in my class. Okay? So that is why UPSA, you cannot dress informally and come. Because it's a professional school. Okay, so you must dress professionally. So regular school, evening school, weekend school, you must dress professionally. And that's all part of corporate governance. Okay? That you go to work early and you close on time. And even when you have extra work to do, you stay and be able to do it and be paid an allowance. The reason why some of these things are happening clearly tells us that there is poor corporate governance tenets. And we are building a country, a formidable one as such. So we want our public institutions, which sits at the behest of SIGA, which is the state governance, so that's where they sit. We need to make sure that every single state agency is implementing proper corporate governance tenets. Consultancy, look at that. 40 million was approved. 58.6 million Ghana cedis.
In excess of 18 million Ghana cedis.
My brother, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Well, we don't come to public service to enrich ourselves. We come to public service to serve the people. We have presidents that are going to jail. I think that it's about time, like I said, let's move away from the meism and look at the weism, which is the collective interest of people. If you are a CEO of a state agency and you are thinking about the collective interest of the people,
there are still students, young people who are studying under very, very sorry structures in many parts of our country. sorry structures. And all they need is a certain 50,000 Ghana cedis and a very, maybe nice 12-unit classroom block is built. Nice decks is provided. There are women, there was a story that I saw very recently. We did the story. I think somewhere in Accra here, they were still drinking from a stream. Still drinking from a stream. And you are spending these huge sums of money and what? All that we're going to see is surcharges and what? Somebody is probably going to be transferred as punishment. This is completely unacceptable. And while talking about corporate governance, that we are also being told of what happened at the National Service Authority. And guys, you can project those images for me. Just except of what the Auditor General in his forensic audit found. Very, very, worrying. Very worrying. And that is going to be up there. And I was just sharing some of those with you. The Auditor General direct recovery of 9.28 million Ghana cedis disbursed into personal e-switch account of NASPA leadership between 2017 and 2024 without supporting document and justification of how monies were applied. Now, NASPA leadership are the leaders of the National Service Personnel. So it's a National Service Personnel Association, the Student Association, Student National Service Personnel Association. Apparently, some 9.28 million Ghana cedis were sent to their e-switch account between 2017 and 2024 without supporting and justification of how monies were applied. So that money was sent to them and nobody can explain why they received the money, what the money was used for. 9.28 million. You go on, the Auditor General found out that some 120,777 service personnel received allowance payment above approved 13-month limit, totaling 1.01 billion Ghana cedis between 2018 and 2024. We are hearing that this might be for people who decided to stay on to continue to volunteer, but still, it has to be clarified. Are these real people? Were they doing the job? Then the final point has to do with the former Director General. He says, Asibe Enchi Osei received 516,000 Ghana cedis every month, equivalent to allowances for approximately 721 personnel, totaling 8.26 million between 2023 and 2024 as a volunteer in the NSA system. The question is, how did the money end up in his account? How did the money of 721 people end up in his account? These are all questions that need to be asked. But fundamentally, we talk about corporate governance. And if maybe, just maybe, if proper corporate governance was happening at the authority, maybe some of these things wouldn't have happened.
You see, this time let's go a bit political. Let's be a bit political. I know Doc will not come at me at this one. We had a vice president who championed, made noise about his digitalization agenda that is going to help us plug all these holes from all these leakages. And it was really under his watch that we had such a thing. He must bow his head in shame, wherever he is at the moment. He must bow his head in shame. Now, as I mentioned earlier, somebody enabled these type of things. There was a sector minister, there was a board, and there was management. And you will notice that even those at the top, the Director General and the deputies also sort of allegedly milked the system. They milked the system to their advantage. And it will interest you to know that it appears to be that this e-switch thing has become a conduit for making a lot of transfers under NSA, the National Service Authority.
Yeah, it's the platform. That is how every national service receives their money.
I think that either we look at the platform or we look at how disbursements are done. You see, the NASPA thing is deductions made from the allowances of the National Service personnel or person that is transferred to their leadership. A day is coming when someone is going to rise up to say, I don't want to be a member of NASPA because it's an association.
Yeah. So it's almost like dues or levies?
Yes,
that's
it's like dues.
NASPA?
Yes, that's given to NASPA leadership. Okay, NASPA is the Association of National Service Personnel.
Yes.
So a day is coming when someone will say, I don't want to be a member of NASPA.
Because
and you dare not
said in excess of 9 million cities were given to them, and they cannot tell what it was used for.
Yes, and the person will say, you dare not touch my allowance to give to somebody because I don't want to be a member of NASPA. And the person will come under the freedom of association. That day you will give me a call to say my prophecy has come to pass. But the bigger picture is, look, it doesn't only happen here. Nobody, even if lawyers go for conferences and our audited accounts are presented, very, very few members go in there to look at what figures are given. And the same thing happens to NASPA. The service personnel are not interested in whatever our money is used for, because already they are thinking about what happens tomorrow when I finish my national service.
And Council, just to chip this in, at uni, I went to GIJ, it's now Unimark. It was one thing that I had a challenge with my SRC leadership at the time, and it was if they ever said they had an issue with me, that was it.
The dues and how to use it,
And how they use it.
Yeah.
And for almost all the time that I was in school, all the administrations that came, there was not a single time an audit report was successfully produced on how the funds, the dues were used by the SRC leadership at the time.
You see, we don't have the...
And they get funds in excess, student too, college student.
Yeah.
And if you look at the dues they receive, as of the last time, I was just doing the maths when I was in school, in excess of 150,000 Ghana cedis.
Good.
It's given to one of our colleagues to manage.
Yeah.
And at the end of their tenure,
there's no account.
There's no account.
Yeah.
And the next administration come and said, all that's left in the account is 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes. Then it continues.
And it continues.
And nobody takes responsibility. Nobody is held accountable for it. And you see, we all enable it. And it is for this reason that I want to commend the Attorney General and all the other investigative bodies that are taking this matter serious. That let's see the conclusion of one of them. And I pray that when they are able to secure conviction, they will be able to retrieve, if not all, a substantial amount of money that was used here. Now, in the investigation into the National Service thing, you know the National Service investigation happened before, and His Excellency John Dramani won, when a lot of them were dismissed. So you would have thought that the system was sanitized. When someone took over, then the sanitization will continue. But he appeared to have gone worse. So this is just one area we are looking at. What of the other areas? Doc, here, if MPP had gone on to have won the 2024 election, we would have died in this country. I mean, with what sort of things we are saying.
Because some are also saying that.
Particularly if it was
some are saying
Baumia.
Some are saying that. Okay, so this was within a period.
Yeah.
What if indeed a proper forensic audit is done of the National Service Authority, maybe in the last 15 years? Accounts in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Someone is asking, what will we find if a proper forensic audit is done, the National Service Authority, say in the last 15 years?
Truth is that we'll find very little because we are not good at keeping record. That is one. We are not good at...
No, when it comes to payments like this is account system.
Yes, how long?
It has existed. It's been there for a while.
I mean, would they keep record for forever? That's what I mean.
No, payments, money that have been...
Yes, yes. Even the banks don't keep them forever. They have a period where the thing tell us away. But it would have been good to do it even before 15 years to have seen, I mean, the huge
extent of the rot.
Of the rot. And I'm saying that it is not only national service. And you see, Doc is teaching or is going to teach corporate governance and culture. A lot of the people he's going to teach are going to memorize and pass the exam and be accused. They will be accused to have passed and have gotten A in his subject. But how does it translate into the psyche of the people? The culture in the establishment. How does it translate into that? If that is not there, all this will be nothing.
Interesting. Doc, let me come back to you. He said he's getting political a bit.
It's fair. It's fair to be political. You know, Ms. Bao, I'm a religious person. I'm a Christian. And I'm guided by 1 Timothy 6:6 that says that godliness with contentment is great gain. You know, there is a reason why in our walk here on earth, we must be meek and mild and gentle. if you are doing these things, you can't think about the poor. That's what I'm thinking about. If you are doing these things, you cannot think about the poor. But the reason why there is day and night is for you to be able to work and sleep. The reason why you will get sick is for you to remember that there's a doctor. And so life is placed in a way that you must, there are times you must go through some hardship so that you can remember that there is a supreme being. But if you are doing these things, how can you have plight on the poor? When we talk about unemployment, you don't even know what it is. When we talk about struggles, that people cannot make ends meet, people go hungry in this country. Look, there are times when I drive on the street, I see these young boys who want to clean your windscreen, and they literally want to beg you that the whole day they've had nothing. But if you are doing these things, you will not have plight for them, because you will not know what struggles are. That is why, you see, too much wealth is not a problem, but too much wealth to the neglect of the fact that people are struggling is what is a problem. That's why I quote the scripture 1 Timothy 6:6, which says that godliness with contentment is great gain. Some of these things that are happening, it's as though people are not content. So Jim Collins says that in his book Good to Great and How the Mighty Fall, says some people are looking for the unnecessary pursuit for more. So what's happening here is an unnecessary pursuit for more. Because how much would you really spend? And we must do some good audit. You see, for those that have lived in the West, people don't build a lot of houses. When you live in a home and you are 18 and your parents ask you to move, you go and rent a house. You do it for mortgage. And it repeats itself like that. So you will find houses where people are selling, and it's generational houses because there's no one left. Everybody is extinct, you know. So we must have a Ghanaian culture value system. That's very, very important, Ms. Power. We must have that.
Yeah.
We must have that Ghanaian value culture system that reminds us as a people of where we are coming from. I think today is the Chancellor of University of Ghana's birthday,
yes.
Madame Chere Hesse.
Yes.
I heard an interview of hers, and that's what she said. She said that when she was going to school, if you have a sandal and others do not have a sandal, they ask you to remove your sandal so everybody can be the same.
Yes.
There is a rationale behind that. The rationale behind that is that we do not want you to express having more than other people because all men are born equal with that understanding. But now there is a growing culture in this country where it's almost becoming the haves and the have-nots. And the gap is too wide for us to be able to see. But when you come to the disciples of Jesus Christ, and I want to go into that because I feel that if people have a clear sense of a good understanding of morality and a clear sense of a good understanding of the supremacy, either a worship of Allah or a worship of God or a worship of a smaller God, if you have that understanding, some of these things you will not do. The reason why it was difficult to see who Jesus was in the days of Jesus, and the reason why he had to be betrayed by a kiss, was that Jesus was equal with the rest of the disciples. And this is one who is the Messiah, who is the supreme being, and who is a human being. So Judas had to betray him with a kiss. Because they could have easily picked Peter. They could have easily picked Timothy. They could have easily picked John. But Judas said, I will show you who Jesus is. So he had to betray him with a kiss, so he can be identified. But here in this country, when you come, you can clearly see who is a politician and who is not a politician.
And the notion that politics is lucrative and people enter politics for money, and for which reason a lot more people are entering into politics, some of these things give credence to that notion.
And that is why we need strong political leadership that can crack the whip. That's the truth. We need strong political leadership that can be able to say that I'm not going for this. Because that's really what it is. If not, yes, of course, people will say that they'll go into politics for money. But Ms. Bauer, I can tell you of a truth. I'm not in this politics because I want money. That is why I quote 1 Timothy 6:6. I'm content with what God has given to me. And continually, when I work hard, I know God will bless me. And that's the truth. You understand? And I pray that I don't fall into a temptation that this video will be played in the future and say, this is the man who said he's content. But I pray that whatever wealth that God gives to me, it will be backed with the hard work that I've done. I do farming. I do fertilizer. I have biofertilizers that I do. Okay? I do coconut. Okay? I invest into hard tree crops with my biofertilizer. I do tea. So these are things that I do on the side. Okay? I do some minerals as well when I have time. These are things that I do on the side. But you see, you must be meek. That's what we are taught. So that's why we need to develop a strong value system for this country. The fact that we don't have a strong value system undermines everything that we are doing. Lifestyles are not audited. Ghana is very expensive to live in. I don't go to restaurants in this country because I can't afford it.
Really?
I eat at home. Yes, I can't afford it. My mind blows when I have to pay either a 700 Ghana cedis for a meal. That 700 Ghana cedis can feed me for a month. I can buy chicken for 150 cedis at Tachimota. And that's the truth. I buy chicken at Tachimota. That's how I live my life. Because I want to eat proper food. 700 Ghana cedis for a meal, it's too expensive. 300 Ghana cedis for a meal, it's too expensive.
And you see, it's very, because it's what I'm just going through my mind and looking at some of the cases that have come up, you know, and maybe you can also chip in here. I'm looking at the Signal Bureau case, all that we heard, all that we've read about, all the things, the monies that have gone where and there. Then National Service Authority, the monies that have gone here and there. Buffer stock case, monies that have gone here and there. I mean, it's just too much. And that's why I raised the question earlier that, look, for me, for instance, I look at all of these things and it's almost like, I mean, what is happening? What is there to believe and have?
You know, Ms. Bao, I was troubled when
young people hear these things and they feel dejected. I
was troubled when I heard that a boutique hotel has been built in Tamale. By the buffer stock CEO. The Attorney General brought that out.
Yes.
If it is true. Do you know where luxurious boutique hotel is? Luxurious boutique hotel, lawyer, you and I cannot sleep there. Well, because it's very expensive. No, you can't
sleep there.
No, in fact, even when I have the funds, I don't think I will sleep there. No, I'm not. You see, I'm very meek because I know how hard I've worked for what I have. So I can't spend it frivolously. And that's how I was trained. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, we need to check the lifestyles. We also need to make sure that we have a culture that reminds us of who we are. Look, that's why you go to Europe and developed countries, you find a prime minister riding a bicycle. It's because it's the culture. You are not elevated above anybody. But here in this country, some people are better citizens than others. And it's all because we are not handling the rule of law well. So we must begin to handle certain things well. That gives the generation that is coming a clear indication that we are really ready to develop this country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Council, just start
yes,
this.
It's interesting. And the amounts of money involved, allegedly stolen, is staggering.
Because, and Council, let me just repeat this point.
Yeah.
Sometimes, all I think about is, while we are here talking about these monies, I think there's a very likelihood somebody can take advantage of this and, what do you call it, spite the youths.
Yeah.
Get them thinking the republic is failing, this is failing, the politicians are not doing this. But I realize we are all out of this country and the country has turned upside down. That is a genuine worry.
I'm not playing down your thoughts, but I don't see it happening. We don't get that type of anger here. We don't get that type of anger in Ghana. If you want to lead now, you are sure that they will call me to say, talk to him, he's your friend. What he's doing, he's going to destabilize the image of the family. Then an uncle will call you, the one you are leading below yours, my classmate. We don't have that type of anger here. It's one of the...
We have a system that checks people to prevent them from doing
these things, yes. It's one of the reasons why we are where we are. We are not angry enough. Because if somebody looks at the amount involved in the Signal Bureau thing, the amount involved in the National Service, the buffer stock, even yesterday when the minister was talking of health, was talking about the health one, that $100 million had been paid. When the work done is not yet 50%. 77 million was paid out of the 100 million, and the work done was not even 50%. And all that, you tend to ask yourself, don't these things shock the conscience of the people? But it appears to be, we have come to be immune to it.
But Council, just before you continue, on the matter of the Ministry of Health and the revelations that the Health Minister made yesterday, we have the PRO of the Ministry of Health, Tony Goodman. He's joined us on phone. Mr. Goodman, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, my brother.
Just give us, help us appreciate exactly what this LHIMS is all about, and you know, why you've decided to move away from the company that was working on this very system, and what it means for the ordinary Ghanaian.
Thank you very much. In 2016, the country decided to go paperless in the various of a pilot and ended. So the trust mainstream the public and like we e-health response is linked by from it.
Mr. Goodman, unfortunately, the line seems to be a bit it's not too stable for us. We are
because I can hear myself, so I'm sure it's from your end.
All right, let's try again. Let's try again, please.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's try again.
Okay, thank you. So this contract is at a cost of $100 million to do 950 health facilities across the country. Out of this 950 health facilities, the company is 4, and they feel that the $7 we have also done when separate we have. This amount, and we felt like there is now 10 in 7 of this was right.
All right, Mr. Goodman, we'll try and reach you again. It seems we might be having the issue at our end, so we'll try and reach you again.
Okay.
All right,
thank you.
So let's just take what the minister said at the press conference. So if you can have that report, the first report, and then get a sense of what the minister also communicated. So if we can give us the Minister of Health, the first report from the news as we shared earlier, so that we can get a sense of what happened. Well, so let me come back to you now, Council. You're making a point.
Yes, so I was talking about the staggering amounts that are involved in all these things. And remember, we've not uncovered everything. There are still certain investigations ongoing. I believe that the persons who were at the helm of affairs, let me be blunt here, the MPP appointees who were at the helm of affairs during the times that these things had gone on, I mean, they should by now be trying to reach out to the investigators and the Attorney General to be offering to return some of the alleged loot so that we don't have to go through all this stress of trying to gather everything in order to start the prosecution. Look, so much rot has gone on. You remember there was an issue about the All-African Games.
The ministers mentioned they are still investigating that. They are still looking into it.
They are still looking into it. I believe by the time that will come up, what happened? Then the Auditor General, was he sleeping on the job? I mean, how come that his staff will only have to uncover all this after the people are gone?
Interesting. I understand we've got Mr. Goodman back now. Let's try again, and hopefully the line will be good for us. Mr. Goodman, if you can start, you were explaining how it started in 2016.
Are we okay now?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So this project, the contract was signed in 2019 and was extended on 2 different occasions, and then 24. They have finished 450 facilities, and they should start. Now that the end of your contract, even if US are still out to have these facilities permit. But through the 3 different milestones, you have not done. So for us to continue any engagement with you, hand over data, service, logistics to the Ministry of Health. Then we can now look at a service agreement to deal with the aftermath of the contract, how to wrap up and all that. When the ministry submitted this particular contract, the company requested that we take out all data requests we've made in that contract out of the new contract because they are not going to give the data to us. Several meetings were held. The CEO came to Ghana. We asked him to actually give back the data because initially, even from day one, the data is supposed to be with the country. If you have this data, you just hand it over to Ghana, and then we can continue our discussion. We've been on back and forth. The system will be turned off and on for some period, and Ghanaians were suffering. So for us to quickly come to the rescue of the people of this country, we decided to quickly put in some new system whilst we follow or deal with this whole problem with the LIMS. So as we speak, we have put in place what we call GIMS, Ghana Health Information Management System, which is solely owned by the government of Ghana. Data, service, everything is for Ghana, and we own it in perpetuity. We don't have any issue with any private individual. This is what we've been able to do. We've also realized that there is a gap of 30 million in the contract, $30 million, which the country is supposed to be collecting from the LIMS management company, and we are pursuing that. So this is a problem we have met. For 7 months now, we've been dealing with it, but we've been managing it here and there. You would hear that people go to hospital and make complaints of people collecting money from us, the system being slow, we are not, health insurance is not working and all that. We try as much as possible because we are dealing with people's data, and you have to be careful the way you come out to say some of those things. You and I, our information is in the hands of somebody who is far away. So we were managing the issue with Attorney General, the various stakeholders, and we have come to this solution. What we want to do now, within 4 weeks, we want to onboard the 450 facilities that benefited under the Elsewhere project, so that quickly we can resolve the issue and see how best the rest of the 500 that were not added, we can also onboard all of them. So that is where we are on this point.
Let me get your response to some things that have also come up, because the former Minister of Health, Dr. Okoboy, has also been speaking to this matter, and he's also raised some concerns and described them as false claims. One has to do with the new system you've implemented. You say that it is completely state-owned. He makes the argument that, well, it is not entirely state-owned, and that the company, you have contracted a company to run it, and the very company you've contracted apparently is a competitor to LIMS, whom you, Lightwave, whom you have now terminated your engagement with them. Can you respond to that? Is that the case?
I am surprised the Honorable former Minister is speaking this way. I don't know whether he speaks for the institution, but we hold a duty to do good to the people of this country. We owe it the Ghanaians, make sure the problem we have met, we deal with it going forward, so that even in the future, no government will come and meet these problems where our data will be in the hands of somebody. National Health Insurance will have one of the robust systems. And this particular system we are talking about is managed in that space. We have other people within the health insurance and the Ministry of Health dealing with it. When it comes to whether it's private or not, the system can be built by a private government people. But what is important, it is the ownership of data, ownership of the service, who manages it. That is what we are talking about. This is purely Ghana project, government of Ghana project. The data sits here because we are not working alone. We are also working with the Ministry of Communication, working with NITA, working with other stakeholders, state institutions to deal with this particular matter. So I don't know where he's getting his information from, but I can tell you that we are solving a problem, and this problem will not reoccur.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Goodman. We really appreciate your input this morning on this matter. Thank you very much.
I'm grateful.
All right, well, let me come to you, Council. Just quick thoughts on this one. And Doc, you also have a little bite on it. I'm sure the issue is going to develop, and we'll get into it as the days go by. And we'll see how the new system will work in our hospitals, whether we'll continue to face same challenges a lot of people were facing a few days ago.
Let me be quick to say I've watched an experiment or a display or a projection of the new system, and I am impressed. I asked questions when the presentations were being made, and I'm impressed. So the new system, you don't have to go looking for folders. Everything is input. So the doctor, once they input your NHIS card, even if you have been to hospital in Wa and you are in Kolebu, they will be able to pull the data and see what you have been treated. The doctor will be able to pull it, and they can assign you to various doctors, etc. Then the nurses are also able to see the treatment you are supposed to undergo, etc. There are various levels of access. Now, I wonder, why is Dr. Okoboye speaking on behalf of the lightweight persons?
Well, I mean, the minister in his presentation yesterday indicted them. He said they supervised over a mess. So he said because of that, that's why he's had to come to speak.
That's why he's coming. You'll get his day to talk. Look, we had somebody who has our data, and the data is not in Ghana. The data is seated in India.
I think maybe I should have gotten that clarification, because the former minister says it is at the Ministry of Health, not in India.
It is not. They don't have access to the data.
He said it's at the last floor of the Ministry of Health.
Oh, come on.
The servers are there, he said. In his long post on Facebook, we could have gotten that clarification from Mr. Goodman. Anyway, Doc, you want to say something briefly on this?
I thought you'd read a minute and come back.
Okay, then you have the final take on it. All right, let me take off a few of the messages. Okay, let me see this. This one says, on the military misconduct, soldiers assault workers and women. Love ya. In fact, this government needs to be applauded and celebrated, because 10 months in office, not a single scandal has been witnessed. Wow, he says, what's good news for Ghana? And I hope it will not continue. I hope it will continue like this. This is the first time witnessing 10 months government in office without even a single purported scandal since the Fourth Republic. Ghana would have been far better if the past government has been useful with our fans, like how this NDC government is doing. President Mahama has indeed justified to the whole world why Ghanaians voted for him, he says. This one said, dear host, Mahama's government can chalk all the success in the economy, but I don't trust the NDC government for failing to repeal the obnoxious LI 2462. I am not enthused about the fight against Galamsey at all. There's mining going on in Meriwa Forest in the Bibiani and Yasu Bekwai municipality under the guise of licensed small-scale mining, which one Yao JB is aware of. I therefore urge NIMOS to, as a matter of urgency, take notice. I'm not an NDC member or a sympathizer, but I voted for Mahama. But I voted for Mahama, and I am getting disappointed with the fight against Galamsey, he says. Okay. This one says, good morning. Because of the evil the MPP know they did to the nation and feared that all the culprits involved in the scandals would be jailed, that is why they were shouting, break the eight, break the eight. In fact, from president down to every appointee, they were all bathing in corruption. Like, why should a whole former finance minister who should be assisting in the recovery of most of the things run away, he says. Jake from Insawem. Okay, Jake, thank you for sending that message. The OPK Patriotic Voices, Guaso, regards to digitalization, Baumia, incoming flag bearer for MPP 2028, and Mr. Abrakwa Anto Samo, incoming MP for Banda. Mahama NDC government are 10 months in office with no show. Galamsey is in its worst state, with the government allowing NDC gurus to do Galamsey with impunity, destroying our lands, water bodies, and crops. One job, 3 people, 24-hour economy, no show. Doomsaw levy, sports tax replacing betting tax, in which all Ghanaians will pay high utility tariffs, he says, and goes on to talk about so many things that he is not impressed with. Good morning, Dachi watching from Ejumako. He says, so this happened with all the noise behind digitalization. Anyway, this is not the first time something like this is happening in this country. I just hope this government bring all those involved in this crime to book, he says. Okay. He says, okay, there was a message here. He said, good morning, Mr. Host. Thank God it's not JDM government. Like by now, you see Dr. Palgrave will say, this is NDC for you. Now you see he can't defend this, he says. Moses from Nigeria. Good morning, my brother. Where did we go wrong by voting MPP into power in 2020? God have mercy. Just take a look at the revelations that is coming out from the Public Accounts Committee. This was why President Mahama said Ghana was a crime scene under Nando, and the MPP government and people didn't understand him. Allah Almighty knows best. He says, okay, a few more, then we'll be done. Musa Abattoir says President Mahama is doing a remarkable job with growth across all sectors, but the next crucial step is holding corrupt officials from the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia era accountable, because it is so sickening hearing how they misappropriated public funds. The true national renewal depends on justice and transparency. And why do we crucify people before they get fair hearing? Ghastly man from Brekum. Is that to please the foot soldiers? Why are some people so interested in getting people jailed based on allegations? It's unfortunate that the Attorney General and some journalists have already passed judgment on the National Service scandal before the case reaches a court of competent jurisdiction. And in democracy, everyone deserves fair hearing. Trial by media or public opinion undermines justice and due process. Okay, we'll try and see whether we can get some message from Facebook also. Good morning. Al-Hassan says to everyone, the MPP micro-minority and the former CJ Tokono should know that the seat of the CJ is not their bona fide property. And if not Tokono, nobody else can occupy that seat. They should stop the political gymnastics and allow Ghana to move on. Why? Whatever unfinished assignment that they want the former CJ to undertake for them has been truncated by the Ghanaian people through the ballot box. Interesting. So, this one says, good morning, host. I wish Bawumia best of luck in the campaign. And Mahama's government can... Okay, we've read this one. All right, great. So, Doc, please, you can have your bites now. I'm sure you have the final take and wrap up.
Well, I think that my final take would be to send my deepest condolences to the Rollinses.
Oh, you don't talk about the health matter.
You said I should have my final take.
Yeah, and it could be that.
Yes, but I want to use my final take to
fair enough.
Send my tribute to the former First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman Rawlings, and to the Rollinses. She definitely was a macro of giving birth to this Fourth Republic, longest serving First Lady. She has some very soft power. By the fireside is credited to her. Obra is credited to her. I mean, these are some of the good morals and values that we had when we were growing up. And clearly, you could see that Ghana has achieved some heights, especially with her involvement with the 31st December Women's Movement. We have the first sitting vice president who is a female after she attended the Beijing conference in the 90s. And so it's a note of sadness for the country, but it's also a note of triumph, because you can clearly see that her works and involvement in public service is rewarded. And so we'll dearly miss her as a people, and we'll wish the family the best. On health, of course, health is very important. I've always stated that before an emergency will be stabilized for any of the public officials to be sent outside of this country for proper medical attention, you would go to a hospital in Ghana. And so I'm of the opinion that we need to build good health infrastructure and make sure that our health hospitals and doctors and nurses and the machines are as epic as it is with others that are in the Western world. And I mean, health is key. We cannot politicize health. We can't politicize education. Certain things, I think there's a civic responsibility of the Ghanaian people.
Well, just a few on Facebook. Musa, President Mohammed is doing Camp. Okay, I think you sent the same thing on WhatsApp. Hussein, he said, this guy is a beast. He should face the law. What kind of, the military issue, what kind of dastardly act is that, he says. Then someone asks, why you didn't mention the name of the fugitive, Ken Oforiatta. Well, I'm not sure how that came about. Elizabeth Tapraku said, who does that? This was so not needed. You abuse a woman in this way because of 51 Ghana. The shop attendant couldn't make any refund without being authorized by the shop owner. Bottom line, he's just a madman and has to be treated as such. Well, those are some messages.